Hey Wargamers, welcome to the Epic Hobbies 4 Epic Minutes. I'm Mike from epicduckstudios, and today I'm going to be showing you how to transfer Games Workshop paint into dropper bottles. To get started, you're obviously going to need some Games Workshop paint and some empty dropper bottles. You can buy these in bulk on Amazon. You want to make sure you get the 15 milliliter size. You'll also need something to dilute the paint, like Liquitex Flowade. Flowade is probably the cheapest solution because you can buy pretty large bulk bottles of it, so if you're doing a lot of paint, it's a good idea. You can also use Games Workshop Lamian Medium or Reaper Flow Improver, things like that as well. But really, if you're buying it in bulk, Liquitex Flowade's the way to go. An eyedropper is also a really good idea because it makes dispensing the Liquitex just a little bit cleaner. You want to start by just shaking your Games Workshop paint and making sure it's already relatively well mixed. Then using the hobby clippers, you're going to want to break the hinge that holds the lid on. This just takes one small clip on each side. From there, carefully remove the lid and start adding some Flowade. I add about a milliliter to begin with because the paint tends to come out quite thick initially, especially with this one being a base paint. Pop the lid back on and give the paint a good shake to mix it up, and then start pouring it into the eyedropper bottle. If it pours out very thick and kind of ketchup-like, you're going to want to add more Flowade. Games Workshop paints vary a lot in thickness from color to color and based on how old they are, so there's really no hard and fast rules to how much to add. But basically, if it doesn't flow well into the dropper bottle, you just want to add more. When the transfer slows to a trickle, you'll want to add more Flowade to the Games Workshop pot to get more of the paint out of it. Pop the lid back on, give it another shake, take the lid back off, and start transferring the rest over to the dropper bottle. Depending on how much paint was left, it may come out very quickly at this point. It really depends a lot on the color, so just be prepared that it might pour out almost in a water-like consistency. At this point, you want to start watching to make sure you're not overfilling the bottle. With the amount of Flowade you add, it's possible you'll actually end up with more paint in the second bottle than you had in the first by a good margin, and you don't want to accidentally overflow the bottle. Once you're done transferring paint from one bottle to the other, pop the top onto the eyedropper and then secure the lid on top. The last thing to do after that is transfer the label. Thankfully, the labels peel off Games Workshop paint pots really nicely. It's almost as if they're intended to do this. Alright, that's one bottle done. Took about 3 minutes real time. I've got a minute left in this video, so I'm going to go ahead and repeat the same process with a GW layer paint. Because the layer paints tend to be a little thinner, here I tried to pour it straight into the dropper bottle. That really didn't work out. The paint is just too thick for it. You can see it's basically pouring out the width of the entire dropper bottle. So I'm going to stop right now and thin it down. Here you can see the paint is barely moving, so it's time to thin it down again and move on. Now it's pouring out with a pretty thin, almost watery consistency, and I really don't want it any thinner than this. So I'm going to stop watering it down, and just whatever's left in the pot after this is just discarded paint. And with the transfer done, it's time to put the label on, pop the lid on, and call it a day. Thanks for watching the Epic Hobbies 4 Epic Minutes. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the comments section below. And as always, do something epic. Hey, thanks for watching my video. If you liked that one, why don't you check out some battle reports right over here, or check out more epic hobby content right over here. If you really like what I'm doing and want to support my creative efforts, I really urge you to become one of my supporters on Patreon. You can find out more about that right here. Thanks for watching.